This is what attracts tourists rather than just
Africa for Africans, man. We're taking our investments, we're taking our wealth, we're taking our brilliance and our opportunities, and we're bringing it back home to contribute to the continent, man. We call it radical welcome, man. The way in which the people welcome you, the sense of belonging that you feel, the sense of home that you feel, I've never felt that anywhere before. We are going to go large scale here in Senegal, West Africa, 7.5 to 8.5 hours from JFK, Baltimore to Dakar. It's time to prioritize and rebuild the legacy that was stolen from us. Reclaim our birth.
5 reasons that black people in the US and Europe should consider moving to Africa. 1, sense of belonging. It is amazing being in a place where everybody looks like you. You're never the only black person, and it is just a beautiful and encouraging experience. 2, safety. Many of the countries in Africa, I'm in Tanzania, are significantly safer than the United States when you check the rankings, and you never have to worry about any sort of racist anti-black violence against you. 3, challenging white supremacy. It is a game changer when you can show that it is possible to thrive in the world outside of westernized systems. 4, learning from African perspectives and experiences. So much of what we see, even those of us who call ourselves very pro-black, are still very westernized when we're from the Western world. When you move to Africa, you get to actually learn the indigenous ways of being from the continent. And 5, learning to love yourself as a black person in deeper and more powerful ways. So much of what we get, again, living in the West, we're brainwashed to believe that blackness is less than and that we have to fight to show and prove our value and worth. When you are in Africa, it is just evidence, and it is just a normal part of living life. Amazing and peaceful to the spirit. Look, I acknowledge that it is not easy for everybody, and the finances and all the details, logistics. Look, I know, I get it. But for those of you who are able to dream, to be able to build the game plan, figure out new ways of being, I encourage you, put it on your list to at least visit.
This is a message to any black person worldwide. I think if you are going on vacation to Tulum and Cabo, that's great. But if you have an opportunity, a chance, a moment to visit Africa, Ghana, Lagos, Tanzania, Ethiopia, then you should take that chance. There's nothing like being surrounded by black people, understanding your culture, feeling welcome, feeling safe. It's nothing like what America will teach you that it is. It's something that what we learned about is it's better, it's bigger, it's beautiful, the people are kind. So I encourage you to go understand your roots, find your people, and love them the way that they would love you.
And I called it, I told y'all, and some of y'all just laughed at me, but I knew it. I swear to God, I knew it. A couple of months back, I made a video saying how if African people all around the world would unite, then it would basically bring the continent of Africa together. It's game over at that point. And all the racist people in the comment section, now that'll never fucking happen. You guys hate each other way too much. This, that, and the third. But Speed is now live streaming in Africa, and look at the effect that it's having on black people all around the world, especially in America. Some people are crying because they're so emotional. Africa's so beautiful. It's advanced. It's not what they tell you it is. It's not sticks and huts. They see Africa and they can't help but wonder, that's basically Wakanda. What if we went back and started like fixing it, doing more for the country? Could it use some help? Of course it could use some help. Look what Africa is up against. But the sentiment is there. African people from the diaspora, they want to connect. That's that spiritual calling. They want to connect. Before Speed, though, there was another creator. He goes by the name of Wodemaya. He goes around the entire continent of Africa, to many different countries, you know, the countries that would allow, I guess. And he basically just shows the beauty of it. He talks to entrepreneurs.
No matter what, if anybody looks like me, it's not European. You see? You could be there for 1,000 years. You're still an African extract.
You know, there's some people in America who don't believe. They look just like you and I. They don't believe they're from Africa.
Europeans. They are not Arabs. They are not Chinese. So if you look at the races of the different races, you're either African, European, Caucasian, Chinese, Indian, Arab. Which one are you? You are not any of them. So your race, we identify you by your race. You can say that you don't come from Africa, but as a race, you're an African. You know, so long as you look like me. And if they do the DNA test, I mean, they will not find you in Britain. They will find you in Africa. So you may hate Africa, but if you hate Africa and you look like me, you really hate yourself. And you never have comfort and peace until you accept that. Because you can't hate really what you are and be at peace with yourself. It's never true. So they're doing that based on what they know, and much of it is misinformation. You know, and I can say that many African Americans, Jamaicans who have embraced their Africanness, not necessarily coming to Ghana, are very much more at peace with themselves than the other ones who are trying to deny.
Interesting.
Yes, you can see it. African Americans who come here, whether they are the top people we see on TV or nobody knows them, they are very much humane when you meet them than the other ones who are trying to say that they are just Americans. I'm telling you. Because they look at even their presidents who are white. They say that I'm from England, I'm from Scotland, I'm from Ireland. They accept that. But you looking like me, you can't say that you're an Irish. You know? So you are trying to come from anywhere but Africa. What is the reason?
Why?
It's because of what they taught you about Africa.
Programming.
Yes, and you believe the lies that those people who came to fight. Because they didn't come to trade, they came to war. They came to fight us. They came to subjugate. And we stood them. We fought. The only thing is that the story is told in their favor. And so people think that we
sold them to slavery.
We sold them into slavery and all that. They also forget to tell the stories of African kings and queens who fought and died.
Africa is going to be the strongest continent in the world. When I said that 25 years ago, people were like, you crazy. Okay, it's a natural. If you know anything about business, 2 + 2 = 4. This plus this equals a product. It's inevitable. Watch. And I've already told y'all, it's speeding up now. 6 years, I'm out of here. I am out of here. I am out of here. I'm putting my assets somewhere else and I'm gonna buy shit that's real. Buy stuff real. Everybody black at the sound of my voice, you need to prepare to get out of here and raise your kids in Africa. Whatever conflict we got with them, fine. And that's why I say, why?
Right now, Africa is becoming a center of attraction to many people outside Africa. Alright? From diaspora and everything. People are looking towards Africa with a new interest and curiosity. From business opportunities to cultural connection, the continent is now attracting global attention. The countries like Ethiopia, Kenya, South Africa, and Ghana are becoming the key destination to every person from the diaspora. But the real question is, why are more African diaspora visitors are now choosing Africa as a place to reconnect, invest, and explore? I have clips here of people who are coming from diaspora to Africa. Watch them, I'll come back.
Welcome to the only country in Africa never to be colonized. Yes, I'm here in Ethiopia, which is known as one of the oldest countries in the world. Except for a brief military occupation by Italy during World War II, the country was never colonized by a foreign power. Ethiopian civilization can trace back to the Aksumite Kingdom, a powerful ancient empire that arose around 400 BC and was even documented in the King James Version of the Bible as the Kingdom of Aksum. In fact, Ethiopia is a Christian-majority country and is one of the earliest Christian nations after adopting it in the 4th century. They use one of the oldest alphabets in the world still in use today and speak Amharic, the country's official language. They're also known as the cradle of humanity, with the oldest human remains ever found here in Ethiopia. The country has a lot of culture and history that you would see on a visit here. But I think my favorite part is the food. They are known for their injera, spongy bread, different stews, liberal use of spices, and vegetarian or vegan options, as Ethiopians will often give up meat several weeks a year for religious purposes. And we can't forget the coffee. Ethiopia is the birthplace of coffee, and there's beverages everywhere. Some people might include Liberia in that definition, but I think it's up for debate. However, it's still amazing.
As an African living in the United States, I used to share the same sentiment that Africans share about African Americans, because I had a hard time when I first moved here. People used to always tell me, you're not black enough, you're an Oreo, you're secretly white on the inside, as if I wasn't literally from Africa. But I now understand after living here for 8 years that Black in the United States is a very specific criteria, and anything outside of that just doesn't fit. But I want to help African Americans understand that Africans coming to the United States are immigrants, first and foremost. Then they are Nigerian or Senegalese or whatever country they're from. And then at some point, they are Black. But Africans don't put Black high up on their identity well, as much as African Americans do. And that is for legitimate reasons on both ends. And so when an African is coming to the United States, they're thinking to themselves, okay, I'm an immigrant here. I have to do my best for myself and my family back home. The sacrifices that took for me to get here were no light work, okay? So I need to really align myself with what's going to make me successful in this country. And because it's the United States, it's the dominant culture, which is white American culture. And so Africans are going to instinctively ally themselves with the culture that's going to give them the most success. I mean, African Americans even admit that they have to code switch to be successful here because that's what brings success. And so Africans are like, all right, we'll do that. And it also doesn't help that for a long time, Africans are fed a very negative view of Black American culture, and that's its own propaganda. But because Africans are so conservative and they're coming to a country where Black Americans have been labeled as the antithesis to this conservative traditional family values, they have, if anything, more in common with Southern Baptist white racist people. But that aside, going back to identity markers, Black Americans put Black first and foremost, and then everything else goes below it. And so they're thinking when another Black people come to our country, they're going to want to integrate with us, the other Black people, because Black comes first. And they get quickly disappointed in realizing that for Africans, Black and the identity and that coming is not first. Their immigrant identity comes first, and then their country, and if anything.
In recent months, or let me say in recent years, Africa has been experiencing significant transformation because many cities across the continent are now growing rapidly, building modern infrastructure, expanding technology, and more like attracting international investment from outside the world. For many Africans who are living in the diaspora, especially African American, this growth is now changing a long-held perception about Africa. Right? Instead of seeing Africa as the only way people are suffering, struggling, begging, and everything, many visitors are now witnessing modern cities, thriving business, and more so vibrant culture. And countries like Ghana has actively welcomed diaspora visitors through the initiation or through inventing and listening to them through the culture, the way of living, the people from the diaspora and in Africa, and it's making them believe they think that Africa is the best place to be, to experience culture, live, invest in a country, and it's crazy, all right? This whole thing is encouraging the cultural connection and tourism to everybody from outside Africa. This whole program has really made African to be known, to be seen in a very different way, more than the history it tries to explain about Africa. Because history has always been lying about Africa. But when they see Africa is now developing, the growth is happening very, very rapid, they are interested in coming to Africa, maybe to invest in Africa or something. They're choosing Africa over other countries. While back then, history has always been telling them about Africa, and they used to believe it. They build this whole thing to be solid with the local communities. They have to come in Africa, invest in Africa, and live in Africa and see how it fits being in Africa. Meanwhile, Kenya has long become a hub for tourism, entrepreneurship, and also technology in East Africa. And everybody knows that. Cities like Nairobi, Mombasa attract travelers who want to experience both modern African and life and more so rich cultural tradition in Kenya. The country is Ethiopia. Ethiopia has a deep history and spiritual significance of many people who are from Africa, descendants where it all began in Africa. Apart from Ghana and Nigeria and Sierra Leone, Ethiopia has its own way of welcoming people from the diaspora. right? With this whole, with its own ancient history, unique tradition, and most of strong sense of identity, it has become a powerful place of cultural connection. Now, let me talk about South Africa. Continues to grow every single time. The country is growing every single year. Visitors through its own global cities, natural beauty, and its own historical landmark that tells importance of being an African, the story of being an African, about the struggle of an African who chose to be resistant to every powerful people who came to Africa to colonize Africa. Now, beyond all this tourism and people want to come to Africa to experience Africa, many diaspora visitors are also exploring business opportunities in Africa, because Africa has one of the youngest population in the world, rapidly expanding digital marketing and growing creative industries. These factors make the continent attractive to entrepreneurs, investors, and more so people come in Africa to innovate new things, right? And at the same time, the cultural connection plays a major role. Many people from the diaspora want to understand their roots, experience African tradition, and also build the meaningful relationship with the continent that shaped their own ancestry. Africa today is not just a place people are reading about. It's a place many are now experiencing for themselves. They pack their bags, they leave the country and come to Africa to experience Africa. Now, the connection between Africa and the global black diasporas continues to grow stronger with every visit. Conversation and collaboration between the parties is making the bond to be strong than before. So exploring culture, history, and opportunities can help build a bridge across the continent and generation. Now, do you think that Africa will become the main global destination for diaspora connection in the future? Tell me in the comments. Do you think or do you feel like Africa is going to become the main global? People who come from different places of the world, they come and reconnect with each other in Africa, not just today, but for the rest of their life in the future. God bless you. Peace be with you. Till next episode, I love you.